Hello Pisces, welcome to Dove and Serpent Tarot. My name is Paul. If Pisces is your sun, moon, or rising sign, this is your tarot card reading. Remember to hit the like button, leave a comment, consider subscribing to the channel, especially if this reading resonates with you. If there is anything you would like me to pray over, or meditate upon, or send positive energy toward, please let me know. Now, this is going to be a general reading, so try to be open and receptive to whatever may come through during our time together. I am merely the messenger. And I ask you to connect directly with each of these cards and use your own intuition to take you beyond the details that I might provide. And remember, Pisces, that the most important part of any tarot reading is you. And we start with the dreaded Nine of Swords. Nobody liked this card, but stick around. I promise it'll be okay. I think you're somebody that you're a bit of a realist sometimes, you know? If something's not working, you would rather know right away that, hey, it's not working, okay? Rather than sort of, you know, pretend that it is for a long time, right? And this goes with anything, personal relationships, business relationships, anything that you're putting your effort into. You would like to see it for what it really is than for somebody to sugarcoat it. That's the one thing about you, I think, is you're very sensitive, but you can handle the truth, you know? Reminds me of Gene Hackman. Anyway, you're somebody that likes it, you know, sort of blunt. You like to be told the truth in any circumstances. And I think that you're also one that is capable of telling the truth to people. If somebody asks you for their opinion, you know, I feel like it's difficult for you to kind of say like, oh yeah, it looks good on you, you know, when you have something that's a little bit more profound to say. But with this card, we kind of have to be our own judge of when it's appropriate to just say exactly what we mean, to speak the absolute truth as we see it, or if we sometimes need to sugarcoat things, right? Because, I mean, sometimes you do. Sometimes people don't want to hear the honest answer to their question. Sometimes they want to hear, you know, something that they want to hear, right? So I think you're somebody that sort of knows where that line is, and you know how to sort of tiptoe on that line a little bit, yeah. I feel like you're involved for something right now that maybe is not so easy for you to see the truth of, and you want to see it. You want to know what this really is, okay? Is now a time for sugarcoating things, or is now the time for just honest and direct communication? Even if it sort of kind of hurts, even if it's not so nice, you know? If it's honest and it is meant to be constructive rather than just tearing people down, you know, then maybe this is what we really need right now. Let's put it into some context. Let's do a few more cards here. You got the Five of Wands. Yeah, perfect. Five of Wands and a Seven of Cups. A Nine of Pentacles. A Six of Pentacles. And, ooh, look at that. As bad as we thought this was, look, we have a 3, 6, 9. This is the divine ratio. These are the divine numbers here, okay? Each being sort of a mirror or a kind of an exponential growth here, right? And so in some ways, we're kind of going backwards. We're going from 9, 6 to 3. So it kind of feels as if with all of this kind of nastiness in the air energy and the water there, I feel like we're kind of, we're taking something apart and we're getting it back to basics. Yeah. By getting back to the fundamental components of something here, I think you're able to really fast track your success. All right, let's keep going. Princess of Wands, the Death card, the Eight of Wands, and Seven of Wands. A lot of fire, right? And I think the fire really is sort of important here because the Seven of Cups has a tendency to drag us down, where the fire is sort of moving upward and it's still ambitious, it's still fiery, it's still hungry, whereas this water is this is kind of your feeling of like we're just sinking and we just want to sort of quit. Okay. We're going to select the mystery card, bonus card, confirmation card. This is a random card from the Smith-Waite Tarot. This is the factor infinite and unknown. And we're just going to set it down over here and put Kevin, aka Mr. Bates, right there on top. We're not going to look at that card until the very end, but it will tie everything together and it will give us the confirmation that we need. If you have a prediction for that card, put it down in the comments anytime during the reading, okay? It's always a good idea to practice our intuition. We can do this as a group exercise, okay? Trying to make the channel a little bit more interactive. I think it's fun. Anyway, so let's take a look around the room here. Major arcana energies. Well, we've got the Death card. And the Death card is really about transforming something, right? The Death card is really going from something that might be sort of not working, something that really needs a lot of honest truth in it. We really need to look at something and be like, yeah, that's kind of a POS. We're going to rebuild it. And that's going to fast track us towards success, right? It's kind of looking like something does really need to be kind of overhauled. We have an engine, maybe we need to rebuild it. You have this classic car, and maybe we just kind of didn't put it together quite right. Maybe we're working with other people, and it didn't turn out the way we sort of wanted it to. So I feel like something needs to be taken apart and put back together in a better way. Okay, and I think that the Death card is sort of saying the same thing, right? Because the Death card, if we think of that as being the transformative power of nature, right? Nothing is wasted. Nature is kind of the great recycler. Everything is just is sort of reabsorbed and reused and used to build new things. So sometimes that's what the Death card means, that we have to let other things go so we can recycle that material, recycle that energy, and put it towards other things. Okay? I don't think that's exactly what's going on here. I think this is more taking things apart, getting rid of all those little flourishes that we put on there that we don't really need anymore, all those additions, all those changes we made, sort of undoing all of that, getting back down to the basic idea of it. And using all that extra material and all that kind of new, all of that freed up energy, putting it into the future of this thing. Okay, so I don't know if this is a project at work, if this is a creative project, if it could be a relationship, it could be really anything that you've been building up, anything that you've been working on, anything that you've been putting your effort into. I feel like we started to get a little carried away. We started adding too much onto it. It's kind of like we're decorating a room, and we had a very simple idea to begin, but now it's just wall to wall. We got stuff everywhere. We sort of overdid it, right? The idea here is to take some of that stuff down and maybe reuse it in different rooms or something, or get back to a very, very basic idea. Simplify in a way, right? So anyway, we've got our major arcana. We do have a lot of fire. We've got a little bit of water. We've got a little bit of air. And we've got our earth. And I think the earth energy is really what it's about, because we're trying to bring this earth up. Where this is all kind of an arrow pointing upwards, see? It's kind of that all the earth is going this way. Because we're trying to really make this thing a perfect being. Not too much, not too little, right in the middle, right at the sweet spot, right? With that 6 of Pentacles up there. But let's talk about the 5 of Wands, because this is you sort of knowing when to push and when to back off. This is you knowing sort of how to toe that line between absolute honesty and sugarcoating things for people, This is knowing how to use the burner on the stove, how much gas to give it. How much fire do we really need? Well, we got a lot of fire over here. And the fire that we have can either be too much or too little. We've got to find that sweet spot. This is you knowing how to control that. Okay, so in this project, in this group effort, maybe it could be a solo thing, it could be a relationship, it could be something in your home, something that you're building, it could be a room you're decorating. I feel as if you don't want to get too carried away with the dismantling or the recycling or the, when you, like say you're cleaning out your garage or something, right? Sometimes we just get hit with this fire and we start throwing everything away. Before we know it, the garage is totally empty. Not quite what we want, right? We want to have that enthusiasm, and we want to clear out as much of this extra stuff that we don't need. But we want to keep the essentials, okay? And that's what we see with the earth energy down here. And it's this fire energy that sort of is your energy, reaching for more things to throw away and kind of saying, no, we're going to keep that one, okay? And sometimes in this process, we need that 9 of Swords. We've got to be brutally honest with ourselves, or maybe with your teammates or your family or whatever, to say, look, it may be something I feel like I need. That's the 7 of Cups, right? I may feel like I need this, like I can't live without this object, right? But if I'm really honest, I don't need this. This is extra. This is not part of the original sort of plan or the original picture that you had of this thing. So this is the card really of that sort of brutal honesty with ourselves, that discernment that says, yeah, I feel like I want this, but I know I don't actually need it, and therefore this is going to go in the recycle pile, right, rather than the keep pile. And maybe it's that simple. Maybe you're sort of preparing for a garage sale, right? Maybe you're trying to clear out some of your stuff so that you can, have more room for other things, other activities, or just more stuff. Yeah. This could really be something going on at work. It could be something at school. It could be something that you're literally building. Okay, but it's happening in the material plane because of this earth energy, and that's what we're really trying to. That's what we're really trying to achieve, is this perfection, this perception of perfection, right? We know it's not a 10 of Pentacles. We know we're not achieving absolute perfection, but we want this sort of balance and harmony. And you see the fire energy is fluctuating between the extremes. It's oscillating sort of between 9 of Pentacles, 3 of Pentacles, 9 of Pentacles, 3 of Pentacles. We want to sort of get it to stabilize right here at this 6, right? The fast track to success. The 7 of Cups down at the bottom is sort of our attachment to those things that we feel like we need. I feel like I can't live without that. Really? Can't live without that? So this is kind of the value, and I can't help but think of those TV shows where the people just have their house like filled up with stuff, and people come in, their family comes in to try to help them, and they're just, no, I can't throw that away. I love that. I need that, And sometimes in our lives, we can act that way too. I'm not saying that you're one of the people that have stuff piled up in your house, but we as human beings tend to pile up stuff in our lives, in our souls, people, places, things, memories, moments, attachments to things. And we don't need all of these things. So for some reason right now in your life, you're very much clinging on to these things that I think make you feel good, make you feel safe, that feel like they fill you up. But these are the false goals. These are the illusions of success. Sometimes we have to strip away. Sometimes we have to simplify. Sometimes we have to jettison a lot of unnecessary things so that we're light enough. Pun intended, so that we are light. And we can rise upward into that 6 of Pentacles and achieve the success that we're after here. Sometimes less really is more. It's hard to strive for less. It seems counterintuitive, right? But this, I think, is representing those things that even underneath the surface too, because this is kind of a little bit below the threshold of consciousness. These are the things that you're sort of unconsciously clinging to that we might be able to release in order to achieve a little bit more lightness and recycle that energy and move up into our 6. It's the 7. We want the 6. Okay. And even over here, we have a 7. We want a 6. And I think with the 8, we've got to go to the 7 and we got to get to the 6. It's all about getting here. Okay. Now, the 9 of Pentacles is really a good card. The Nine of Pentacles, it's sometimes very hard to define the shadow in the Nine of Pentacles, right? It's a card about gain. It's a card about accumulating. It's a card about seeing the visible signs of success. And this is the card that usually says more is better. You got a little bit of money, more is better. You got a little bit of time, right? More space. I want more things, more memories, more people, right? More on my schedule. I want more food on my plate. And usually it's a very good thing. Sometimes we have to realize that maybe we've been sort of accumulating too much of the wrong things, especially if this unconscious attachment is underneath the surface sort of guiding us to those illusions of success, right? So this card, I think, is sort of referring to that. I think that you've made a lot of progress. Yes, you've built up a lot of things. You've come a long way in this project or whatever you're doing. But we've got to look at what really that progress has been. What is its real value, okay? Because sometimes more isn't always better, okay? So I can't think of a good analogy. I mean, it's kind of like, filling up the space in your house, filling up your garage. The more stuff you have in there, then the more successful it seems. Now it feels like a real garage, because it's packed full of stuff. We've still got to go through our garage too. But this is, this is that idea of continuing to acquire more and more things. Or if you're painting a picture, the more you put on there, the better it's going to look. The more paint you use, the more objects on the canvas, the better it's going to be. In your case, I think it's about simplifying. It's going back to the basic structure of something. What is it that you're trying to paint? A sunset, right? Well, you've got the sun and you've got the lake or the water, whatever, the horizon. Then you got trees, you got birds, you got some people camping over there, you got some wild animals, you got some ships in the background, some planes overhead. You start putting more and more in there, and we sort of get carried away with that fire energy, right? Because it feels good. The act of creation feels very good. So anyway, I think that we've made a lot of progress. This thing has gotten bigger and bigger and bigger. But somehow it has been anyway, being sort of led by that Seven of Cups a little bit. So the idea here is to see what we need to do to sort of lighten the load, to simplify, right? To get rid of some of the extra weight, to clean out the garage a little bit, to make room for what is absolutely what we want, okay? The Six of Cups is the perfect harmony, the perfect order. It's not too much, it's not too little. This is kind of saying I have the will, the idea, the inspiration, the sort of the magical impulse to paint a picture of a sunset, right? Or to achieve a successful relationship, or to succeed in my business, or to get a promotion, or whatever, to succeed in business. And the Six of Pentacles is the absolute perfect reflection of that. It doesn't have a lot of extra stuff attached to it. Stuff that doesn't need to be there. This is the harmony and the resonance between you and the actual world. It's really, it's a mirror image of the three. The three is you getting back to your understanding of exactly what it is that you're trying to build. Okay, trying to build a simple pyramid, right? Then the Six of Pentacles becomes the reflection of that out into the world. So it's a 3 plus a 3. The 3 within you saying, I've got this sort of vision, I've got this idea, in my mind of the sort of the perfect object that I'm trying to create. And then when that gets projected out into the world, we get a 3 and a 3. We create that harmony, and it looks exactly like what we envision. Right? We're not being sort of driven by this unconscious need for more, this attachment to quantity over quality, perhaps. And so the thing that we're achieving is that perfect success. It is that moment of like zero gravity, just kind of floating there. Be like, this is it. This is the moment where you know when to stop painting the picture. You know when it's like, drop the brush. You know, it's absolutely perfect the way it is right now. That's the moment, you know. And I think we're looking for that moment. We're trying to get here as soon as we can. This is what we want. So we'll get there faster by taking it slow, right? We'll get there faster if we don't sort of overshoot the goal, for one thing, right? This sort of comes and goes and we're just still working, building, adding more. The perfect moment is going to just slip by and we're not even going to be aware of it, right? So it's going to take a lot longer because then we've got to kind of turn around. We've got to undo all these things to get back to that perfect moment if we can find it again. So the idea here is to go slow enough that you can recognize when this thing is absolutely perfect and it's time to drop the paintbrush. The Three of Pentacles, of course, is you understanding the process of creation on the material plane. You understand exactly what it takes to manifest this in the appropriate way. See, it's very interesting, the astrology here too. This is a Venus card. This is a Venus card. Right? Venus is all about sort of the aesthetics and the attachment and what I love and what feels good, what looks good. I want more extravagance. These two cards are Mars, right? Venus and Mars, rather oppositional planets, planetary energies, right? And so this is sort of the way that we know. This is like bare minimum. This is like very austere. This is very meager, very minimalist, right? This is extravagance. And I think that you're trying to sort of find the sweet spot right in the middle of those. Not too much extravagance, but not just bare bones either. We're trying to go right there into that sweet spot. That's the perfect picture. And I like Venus and Mars here for all you astrology people. I think you'll find this almost amusing that it sets up that way. Now we're going to move over to the path of the serpent. And as we do this, I would like to ask for your subscription. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do. It's totally free, helps out the channel, win-win. I appreciate you, okay? I also know that this sort of looks like the 21 Pilots sigil for all you 21 Pilots fans. One of my favorite bands, honestly. I'm not embarrassed to admit that by any means. The general energy being the Princess of Wands. This is sort of an impulsive energy. It could be impulsive either way. Impulsively painting more, buying more stuff, more extravagance, more, it could be sort of the impulsiveness the other way, throwing everything away. Not even pausing to say, does this mean anything to me? Nope, it's out the window. It's in the dumpster. It's in the recycle bin, right? And we don't really want to be so much like this. We need a little bit of the control of the Five of Wands so that we don't kind of throw everything away. Again, you don't want to turn around and look at your garage and realize you threw everything out. The lawnmower's gone, the refrigerator's gone, your car is gone. Like, everything has just been recycled, You've given everything away. So we've got to get a handle on this, because I feel like maybe you fluctuate between the two. Maybe you're somebody who just kind of has these moments of building, and then there's a frustration or something that happens, and then we just sort of tear it all back down again. And then we're like, okay, I guess I got to start over now, or, that wasn't quite right. So I think we are really looking for the attempt that can go right up the middle there, yeah. It is all about the death card here. The death card is the card of change. I know it's a rather scary card. So is this Nine of... Let me put these things back. So is the Nine of Swords, right? But the death card really shouldn't be called death, I don't think. I mean, it's called that because Spirit wants to get your attention, This should be the card of change, card of rebirth, transformation, even the card of evolution. This is the card of slow, steady change over time. So on the one hand, it's kind of telling you to slow down, in your environment too. This card is talking about your relationship with this situation at hand. Okay, and especially coming off the Princess of Wands, the Death card is telling you to slow down. Don't be impulsive one way or the other. Take your time and really figure out how to go right up the middle, fast track to success, right? But it's also saying that if there have been many iterations of this, building up, and then frantically tearing it down back to the bare bones, and then doing this again, and then this, and kind of going back and forth, time wasn't standing still. You were still evolving in this situation, that perhaps your idea, your understanding of what it is you really want has been evolving over time. The more times we build something up and tear it down, something's different the next time we build it up. We are different. The circumstances are different, right? It's not just a Groundhog's Day that just keeps repeating. We're different through that process. Okay. This is also the card that I think has sort of been saying we're looking for a certain type of success. That's Six of Pentacles, right? But I feel as if it's been so slow, the progress, that, yeah, there's been maybe this frantic fluctuation between more and less and more and less. But getting to that ideal of success, perhaps it feels like it's kind of standing still, that it's just we've sort of stagnated, right? The Death card can feel like that because it is slow change over time. Okay? And it's kind of like we don't see ourselves aging in the mirror day to day, right? But if I look at a picture of myself 20 years ago, I'll be like, holy shit, I changed, right? It's like that, you know? We don't really see how far we've come until we look at those large jumps in time, all right? The thing that punctuates the Death card, and I always look over, every time I see the Death card, I always wonder, where's the Tower? Because if the Death card is the slow, steady change, the Tower card is those punctuations, those moments of really abrupt change, those moments where we can see, I look different today than I did yesterday, or even this morning, right? It is those moments of novelty. It is the Tower moments, the Tower events that we remember. Those are the kind of instant changes that we remember, sort of in the middle of this vast field of slow, gradual change. Okay? And that's kind of what I feel with all this fire and this earth energy. I kind of feel like this is us building up the tower and tearing the tower down, building the tower up and tearing the tower down. Maybe in search of that kind of, in search of that feeling of instant progress. Or maybe we're looking for that fast track to success. We're looking for that obvious, like, change, like that change that we want. That we want to be able to look at it and say, yes, this is a lot different than it was yesterday, but it's not perfect, so we throw it and we try again. But we're chasing that moment of being able to see that sort of novelty, see that abrupt change in something. We don't like the gradual change. Okay, because I think because of the Eight of Wands a little bit. Eight of Wands is sometimes some anxiety. This is the card we don't want. And we don't want to feel like we are taking 2 steps in one direction and going back to the middle. Taking 2 steps in another direction, going back to the middle. This is the card of that sort of wasted effort. And I think every time we venture out on one of these paths, we take 2 steps forward, we take 2 steps back. We turn 15 or 45 degrees this way. We take 2 steps forward and 2 steps back. Do this all day, every day. You're using up a lot of energy, but you're not really going anywhere. You've taken a lot of steps, but you haven't moved from this spot, right? And this is what we don't want. We don't want to feel like we are wasting our efforts. We don't want to feel like we are, sort of taking the 2 steps forward and then 2 steps right back to the middle. Okay. because this really can exhaust us, like anxiety, right? Anxiety is a lot of this sort of agitation, a lot of adrenaline, a lot of fear or worry or concern that doesn't really, it's a lot of nervous energy being expended, but we're not doing anything with it. It's not producing anything, right? So I feel like this is what we're trying to avoid, and I think that maybe the solution is here in this Seven of Wands. For one thing, the Seven of Wands is saying you're never going to give up on this. So we might as well find a way to really, really streamline things and get this sort of fast track to success that we're looking for. Okay. The Seven of Wands is a lot of fight. And I think that it's in some ways, I'm going to echo what I said about the Death card and say it might be a card that says we got to kind of slow down. Okay? Because I kind of feel like this, whatever this thing is, your methodology, I think, is kind of kicking your ass. You know? You keep fighting against something, and of course it has that Eight of Wands feel to it. I think it's starting to wear you out. I think it's time to realize that we need a different tool out of the toolbox. And we need to maybe slow down and look at things a different way to see how we can avoid the building up, the tearing down, the building up, the tearing down, and go right up the middle there and transcend that, get to that Six of Pentacles. Get to the success that you really want to see. Get to that sort of perfection. Drop your paintbrush, right? Maybe you've been using a different tool. Maybe this is the hammer, right? The hammer can be used to either fix things together or pry things apart. And maybe that's what you've been doing. It feels like you've been nailing two boards together and then using the claw on the back, to pry them apart again. And then try and putting them back together and doing it all over again. And that's exhausting work. Okay. Let's look at that mystery card. Maybe we'll get some good water energy out of this. Maybe another major arcana card. If you have a prediction for this, put it in the comments. I'd like to see some major arcana because we had that Death card. I'm going to see something. Maybe it'll be a tower, honestly, probably. Probably a tower. Let's see. The Wheel of Fortune. It kind of looks like we're looking down at the top of a tower, right? That we're kind of like looking above, down, maybe? No, a little bit. The Wheel of Fortune is great fortune. It is Jupiter energy. It's prosperity. It is luck. It is perfection. It is an expansion. It is a growing. It is sort of a building up of something, but in a way that is sort of perfectly right. And see, this kind of looks like that too, right? They're both sort of this wheel configuration. They both kind of look like we're looking down onto the top of a tower. And maybe this is you sort of realizing what that perfection is and kind of getting into that zone where you're kind of right in that sweet spot. You're not building up too much. You're not tearing down. It's kind of just this it's the right usage of energy. And I don't know how to describe that, but this is a success. This is really great fortune, or very good luck, right? If you believe in luck. This is you, I think, being blessed with the perception of your success and knowing the direct path to get there. This is also the card of divine timing. This is Spirit's wristwatch, right? This is the divine timepiece, and it says, it's Pisces o'clock. It's time for you to figure this out because you're kind of wearing yourself out with how you've been approaching it, and it's now time to find that path right up the middle. Okay, that sweet spot right up the middle like a game of baseball, I think this is the perfect confirmation card. I'm very happy about this. We're going to do an extended reading too. If you want to stick around, there is a link up top. There's one down below. New readings for Pisces are on Thursdays and Sundays. Be sure to watch both readings. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do. It is totally free. And leave a comment. Let me know where in the world you're watching from. I want you to know that you're the most important part of Dove and Serpent Tarot. I thank you and I love you. And we're all in this together.